After I got my first bonus check, my SIL texted my husband, make sure she doesn't go blow it on some handbag. Keep her grounded. He showed me. I said nothing, but I waited, then bought her favorite designer bag and mailed it to her house with a note that read, "Don't worry, this one's grounded." She never spoke to me again. This happened about a year ago in Austin, Texas. I was 34 at the time. I had a full-time job with a tech company working in customer logistics. Not glamorous, but steady, and I worked hard. I was pulling 50-hour weeks for almost 2 years straight. Finally, the company had a strong quarter and handed out bonus checks. Mine was $5,100 after taxes. I'd never had that kind of extra money all at once in my life. I wasn't raised with much. My parents struggled, and when I left for college, I knew I'd be supporting myself the whole way. No handouts. No fallback plan. So when that bonus hit my account, I felt proud. I earned it. Every dollar of it. My husband Nate was happy for me. Or at least he seemed like it. He congratulated me, hugged me, told me we should do something special. We ordered takeout that night and watched a movie in our living room. Nothing fancy, just us. That part was good. Then his phone buzzed while we were halfway through the movie. He picked it up, read something, and kind of sighed. He didn't say anything at first. He just handed me the phone. It was a message from his sister, Rachel. All it said was, make sure she doesn't go blow it on some handbag. Keep her grounded. Just like that. Like I was some irresponsible child who needed to be watched. Like I couldn't be trusted with money I earned. I didn't say anything right away. I just handed the phone back to him. I felt my chest go tight, my hands shake a little. He looked embarrassed. I didn't tell her to say that, he said. She just asked about the bonus. I guess I mentioned it. I nodded. Okay, that's all I said. But something changed in me that night. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I just stored it. Like a receipt. I knew Rachel. She was always like this, judging from a distance, acting sweet in person, then sliding in little jabs behind your back. She had a way of talking about people like they weren't in the room, even when they were. Rachel was one of those entrepreneurs who somehow never worked regular hours and always had a new lifestyle brand or vision board workshop or online retreat in the works. Meanwhile, she lived in a house her parents helped her buy, wore $1,000 shoes, and claimed she manifested everything into existence. She also had a thing for designer bags. She wasn't shy about it either. Every holiday, she'd casually mention a new limited edition she was dying to get, hoping someone would take the hint. She once made an Amazon wish list for her birthday with items that cost more than my rent. So yeah, when I read that message, I didn't forget it. I didn't get angry out loud. I didn't confront her. I waited. I didn't spend the bonus right away. I paid off a credit card, put some in savings, got Nate a new smartwatch he'd been eyeing. Then I set aside exactly $2,300. I used it to buy Rachel's favorite designer bag. A real one. Not a knockoff. Not used. Brand new. Still in the box. I'd heard her gush about it last Thanksgiving when she talked about how it was basically sold out everywhere. I bought it. I wrapped it. I wrote a note. Then I mailed it to her house. The note inside said, "Don't worry, this one's grounded." That's all. She never responded. Not a thank you. Not a question. Nothing. And she hasn't spoken to me since. Not one word. It stayed quiet for a while after I sent the bag. Rachel didn't text me. Didn't text Nate. She didn't post her usual mirror selfies on Instagram for a whole month, which for her was unheard of. She always had something to show off. At first, I thought maybe she was embarrassed. Maybe she realized I wasn't the fool she made me out to be. I figured she'd back off, maybe stop treating me like I was some clueless girl playing grown-up. But Rachel wasn't done. She found another way to get under my skin. And this time, it came through my husband. One night, Nate came home from work and asked me if I had said something to Rachel's husband, Mark. I blinked. What are you talking about? She told me you reached out to him, he said. That you were stirring stuff up about their finances. I laughed. Straight up laughed. I haven't talked to Mark in months. And I don't give a damn about their finances. But Nate looked unsure. I don't know why she'd lie about that. And that right there told me everything. She'd planted a seed. And it was working. Nate didn't want to think his sister was lying. So instead, he started thinking maybe I was doing something behind his back. I felt sick. I had spent years trying to be polite to Rachel, trying to give her the benefit of the doubt because family matters to Nate. I never wanted to come between them. But now she was making me look like the enemy. In my own marriage. I didn't argue. I didn't defend myself too hard. That's what she'd want, me looking defensive, emotional, irrational. Instead, I said, if you believe that, then maybe you should ask Mark. He didn't. Of course he didn't. He just changed the subject and said we should move on. But I knew what was happening. She was trying to chip away at me. Quietly. One little lie at a time. So I decided to get smarter. I started keeping receipts. Literal ones. Emails. Texts. Anything Rachel sent me or said in passing that felt off, I saved. I started tracking the little games. I wasn't going to play defense anymore. I was going to keep record. And then, 6 weeks later, something happened that made everything snap into place. Rachel called Nate while I was out running errands. He didn't know I had left my phone on the kitchen counter, and it recorded the whole call on accident. The voice memo app had been running because I'd been making a grocery list on it earlier. When I got back home and saw the recording still running, I clicked it just out of habit. That's when I heard her voice. Rachel, on speaker. You know she's playing you, right? She wants you to think she's the better one. That little stunt with the bag? That wasn't a gift. That was a message. She's trying to make me look bad. And if you don't wake up soon, she'll make you look bad too. I stood in the kitchen, listening. My hands were shaking. I felt like someone had thrown cold water over my head. Nate didn't push back much. He just said, she's not like that. But the way he said it, it wasn't confident. It wasn't full. It was like he was trying to convince himself. I didn't confront him. Not yet. I saved the recording. And I started making a plan. After I heard that recording, I couldn't sleep right for a week. I'd lie there next to Nate, staring at the ceiling, wondering how long Rachel had been twisting things. Wondering what else she'd said that I didn't know about. Wondering if he really believed me, or if he just didn't want to deal with the fallout of picking sides. Then came the bomb I didn't see coming. It started with a notice in our mailbox. A standard white envelope, return address from some law office in San Marcos. I opened it at the kitchen table, thinking it was junk. It wasn't. It was a formal letter requesting records and documents related to a family estate matter. I almost threw it away until I saw the name Rachel Winslow in the body of the letter. I read it 3 times. Turns out, Rachel had recently filed for power of attorney over their aging aunt, the one who'd helped raise both her and Nate after their mom died young. Aunt Denise. Sweet, kind, slipping a bit in recent years. She still lived alone, but her memory was shaky. Last time we saw her, she asked me the same question 4 times in 1 hour. Rachel was moving to take over. And the letter? It was Rachel's lawyer requesting Nate's signed consent as the other next of kin because they needed his approval to move forward with transferring control over Aunt Denise's estate. I felt my heart pound in my ears. She wanted control of Aunt Denise's house, her bank accounts, her insurance, everything. And she hadn't even told Nate herself. She let a lawyer break the news. I waited until he got home and dropped the letter in front of him. What is this? I asked. He looked it over. What the hell? You didn't know about it? No, not a word. I stared at him. You sure? Because if she called you and you just didn't mention it, no, he cut me off. She didn't tell me. I saw the look on his face. Shock. And something else, a hurt. Maybe even fear. Because he knew now that Rachel wasn't just stirring the pot. She was playing chess. And she was moving fast. He called her that night. Put her on speaker this time. I just didn't want to stress you out, Rachel said, her voice all syrup. You're so busy with work, and it's not like you've been close with Denise lately. You could have told me, he said flatly. I was going to, she replied. The lawyer just moved things faster than expected. And you know how flaky Denise is. She agreed to it, by the way. Totally lucid when she signed. That set off alarm bells in my head. Denise lucid? She'd barely remembered my name at Christmas. Rachel kept talking. Smooth, calm. Like she'd rehearsed this call. Nate didn't argue. He said he'd think about it, and hung up. Then he turned to me. I don't trust her. That was the first time he said it out loud. I didn't say, I told you so. I just nodded. We need to talk to Denise. So that weekend, we drove down to her place. Brought her lunch, sat with her for a few hours. She was sweet as always. But she couldn't remember if she'd signed anything. She did mention Rachel helping with bills, but when we asked about the lawyer, she got quiet. Said she didn't want to cause trouble. That's when I knew Rachel had gotten her to sign something she didn't fully understand. We left that day with more questions than answers, but also with a plan. Nate was going to talk to the lawyer. Ask for the paperwork. Get real answers. And me? I started digging into Rachel's business. Her so-called coaching work. Her LLC. What I found made my blood run cold. Her company had no tax filings for the last 2 years. She defaulted on a business loan, and one of her past clients had left a complaint on the Better Business Bureau saying she took payment and ghosted them. Rachel was not just petty. She was dirty. And now she wanted power of attorney over a vulnerable woman with a 6-figure inheritance and a paid-off house? She picked the wrong sister-in-law to play games with. We didn't sleep much after that trip to Denise's. Something about the look in her eyes, the way her hands shook when she said, Rachel's just trying to help, stuck with me. It was the kind of help that came with strings tied around a neck. Nate got a copy of the paperwork Rachel filed through her lawyer. She drafted a power of attorney agreement and had it notarized. The signature was real, sure, but Denise clearly hadn't understood what she was giving up. She was handing her life over. I didn't care if it made me the bad guy in the family. I couldn't let it happen. Nate and I drove back down the next weekend. We brought a friend of his, an elder care attorney named Joel. We sat with Denise at her kitchen table while Joel gently explained what power of attorney meant, line by line. It took almost 2 hours. Denise cried halfway through when she realized she couldn't even close a bank account now without Rachel's sign-off. Joel helped Denise revoke the agreement right there and filed the paperwork. We had to jump through hoops, but it got done. Rachel found out 2 days later. She stormed into our house, no warning, hair wild, eyes furious. Nate had left the front door unlocked, and I was in the kitchen when I heard it slam shut. You manipulative bitch, she spat. I turned slowly, knife in my hand from slicing apples. I set it down. You made her sign it without explaining it. She didn't know what she was doing. Rachel laughed, sharp and bitter. You think you know everything, don't you? You think your little paycheck makes you better than everyone. You're pathetic. She was shaking. Really shaking. This wasn't fake anger. This was the unraveling. Nate came in from the garage, saw her standing there, and just froze. She turned on him. You let her do this. You let her humiliate me, again and again. First the bag stunt, and now this? You think I don't know what she's doing? He spoke quietly. Rachel, you tried to steal from Denise. I was protecting her, she screamed. And you, Nate. From her. She pointed at me, finger trembling. You used to be normal. You used to listen to me. He didn't say anything, and that was the final blow for her. She stormed out, slammed the door again. We didn't chase her. That night, I finally told Nate about the voice memo, how I'd recorded that first call by accident, how I knew she'd been planting doubts in him. He listened to it in silence, then deleted it. "I believe you," he said. "I'm sorry it took me this long. I thought that would be the end of it. But Rachel doesn't go quietly." 2 weeks later, I got a call from Joel. He sounded tired. "She's filing to contest the revocation," he said. "Says Denise wasn't of sound mind." I nearly dropped the phone. But Denise had agreed to see a doctor after our last visit. We had an official mental evaluation from a geriatric specialist. She was showing signs of early dementia, but was still fully capable of making legal decisions. That report saved everything. Rachel lost. And when she did, she lost more than just control over Denise. She lost the family's trust. Nate and I sat down with his father, who had always tiptoed around Rachel, afraid to upset her, and told him everything. The bag, the lies, the power grab. He looked crushed. "She's not who I thought she was." For once, I didn't feel like the outsider. I felt seen. Rachel didn't come to Thanksgiving that year. Or Christmas. She blocked me on every platform, like I was the villain. And maybe I was in my own way. Maybe I didn't need to send the bag. Maybe I should have been more upfront, more aggressive from the start. Maybe I let my silence become my weapon. But I won't lie to you, I'd do it all over again. Because sometimes silence is stronger than screaming. And sometimes revenge isn't fire. It's ice. Rachel tried to paint me as the shallow one. The emotional one. The one who needed to be kept grounded. And in the end, I didn't just keep my footing. I pulled the ground out from under her.